to help each other out. If a hiker gets lost in the mountains, people coordinate a search. If an earthquake levels the city, people all over the world send emergency supplies. This instinct is found in every culture, without exception.
Training the Confederate Army gave me is useless against the newborn. Still, I never lost a fight.
This happened during the Civil War?
I was the youngest major in the Texas Cavalry. All that haven't seemed to be real bad. Until I met a certain portal. Maria.
Now see, I started playing this because here Maria reminds me of Deborah.
After evacuating the column with the church.
Well, not quite here,
I saw them.
but it's coming.
I immediately offered them my aid.
And I don't know shit about the Bible, I just heard about Deborah.
And an officer. Bitter to Maria. I can never stop once I've started. What's your name, soldier?
Major Jasper Whitlock, ma'am.
I hope you survive. You may be of great use to me. Maria was creating an army?
They were very common in the South. Constant brutal battles for territory. Maria won them all. She was smart, careful. She had me. I was her second in command. My ability to control emotions served her well. I trained her newborns. An endless occupation, since she never let them live beyond the first year. It was my job to dispose of them.
And what I'm trying to get to with this, I guess, is, well, first of all, yeah, Deborah, she was like the lady who, like, God told to tell this other dude to, you know, take his army down and, like, destroy a bunch of people. And if he did, in a certain way, he'd win, blah, blah, blah.
Maria and I had was love. But I was her puppet. She pulled the strings. I didn't know what it was.
So in this movie, this dude falls in love with another prophet. So here,
She seemed to come, of course.
You kept me waiting long enough.
yeah, falls in love with this chick. But before that, you know, we had someone whispering in his ear.
I don't know what I've become without her.
And that, to me, brings up the question of Deborah. And not in, like, an anti-woman type of way. It's like, you know, but, like, God told me to tell you, like, how problematic that is. Like, God told me to tell you it's a problematic thing. It's a problematic thing, God told me to tell you, because we're vulnerable to that type of language. As if we speak a different language, we're vulnerable to that. If we're vulnerable to science, then a better scientist can tell you something, and without understanding it, you'll believe it. And then, of course, science gains its quote-unquote truth from math. And then if you're a really great scientist, a better mathematician could tell you something and you'd believe it, you know? And if we're in a certain system, we're told, if we're scientists, we're told, hey, this and that, other scientists said, this reputable scientist said, but there's no unified theory, and nobody ever talks about, like, root 2, like, it's supposed to be like a settled deal, root 2, like, so nobody even really ever talks about it anymore, like it's settled, like it's just a real number, and that's that. I shouldn't say nobody, one dude does. But yeah, God told me to tell you.
I'm not just gonna hide while you're out taking all
It's
the
problematic because if it's coming from an authority that we trust, we just believe it blindly and don't look into something for ourselves. We don't listen to the voice of God within ourselves, the voice of reason within ourselves.
Okay, either it's so dangerous that I have to hide, or it's so easy that you're gonna be sidelined. Which is it?
It's dangerous for you. It's easy for
And
us.
then the other thing is,
I think it's dangerous.
like,
Jasper.
but then what about, like, clairvoyants and prophets? Or they say there were real prophets. I say there are.
Okay.
I say there are clairvoyants. And then like someone could know something, or someone could just be like smarter or wiser or know more. And it's really hard sometimes to tell the difference between when we're being led by someone else's or our own, when we're being led by someone else's or our own prejudice, and when we're being led by someone else's or our own real knowledge or inner vision, or like a prophetic hunch, which comes into the idea of like imagination. And you know, a lot of times, like with the real and imaginary numbers, people say how like we shouldn't call them imaginary numbers because that doesn't give them the credence that they deserve.
That's why they are created.
But you know, so now so we call them complex numbers, or like Goss, I think it was Goss, said we should call them lateral numbers. But that type of discussion discounts imagination.
Never go for the obvious kill.
And like anything to do, say there were clairvoyants or prophets, like anything to do with all that kind of stuff would be, is the imagination fulfilled? You know, if perfect math and perfect science, which isn't a thing in the world today, known, then, you know, if that's perfect, like explicit reason or displayed reason, not that it really, not that it's there, but as good as it is, say that's as good as it gets. And then the imagination would be the clairvoyant or prophetic side of that, real, something real. I can think myself around and around and around and around, and I can have my twilight dreams, you know, before I sleep and before I wake up, and I have images, there are individuals there are scenarios, there are scenes, there are things happening, and it's real. That's one of the problems with the language with real and imaginary. So then that would come into the idea of, well, what does complex mean anyway? Complex. Maybe that's something else for another time, but anyway, one of the things was the whole deal with like Deborah. You know, was it that Deborah? not the wolf thing, but was it the Alice Deborah? Or was it the redhead Deborah?
Sylvia gonna get her.
You know? Like, what the heck's going on here?
Because of me. It's gonna be 100 times worse than this, right?
A girl, a wolf, and a vampire. But anyway, one of the Deborah connections is that I was looking online today and it says that Deborah means bee. Deborah means bee. So that was a good little connection with what I've been working on lately. Yellow and black. Yellow and black. Yellow and black. Oh man, I'm always knocking stuff over. And then, since I was on yellow and black again, I just wanted to reference this little picture of a bee when I was making a pentagram from, like you start off with the whole like hexagram deal, and then you can make a pentagram from it. One of the classic ways to make a pentagram, though in my other videos I use the Richmond construction, which I'll probably use again. And there's so many different constructions of pentagrams, just like there's so many different proofs of Pythagorean theorem. You know, one of the ones that people don't talk about a lot is that President Garfield guy who got assassinated like just after he got after he got into office, and no one ever talks about that assassination, which means it's probably a really hot topic. Which means, yeah, next time I do something where I require talking about Pythagorean theorem, I think I'll try to just go through the Garfield proof, which I'll just probably rip off from Khan Academy or something. But yeah, this picture, when I did it, you know, I made the circles without the outline and without this bee image in the middle, but this kind of bee-looking image popped up to me, and I thought to myself, I've always thought of bees having to do with 3 and 6 because of the 3 parts of the body and the 6 limbs, but I never thought about their 5-ness before, and just the shape of this Vesica Pisces, this shape, and then in my mind's eye, imagination, you know, I saw these what could be limbs. I was trying to figure out, well, how would it be fit into this thing, and then I just thought of 5 and 6. And I was just listening the other day how that's a connection to something to do with the spiritual and the physical, but it depends which way you're looking. And anyway, kind of a nice little logo, little image, and then I thought this looked like like this Roman face frieze I'd thought I'd seen before. Kind of resembles that thing that you put your hand into and it like tells your future or whatever. So I thought that was cool.
It was my job to dispose of him.
Whispering in the ear. So that's the Maria in this movie. I'm saying that, you know, what if that's the Deborah? But then the girl he's with now, Alice, what if that's the Deborah, you know? Like a real clairvoyant, a real prophet. And in this case, just someone who's more powerful, more understanding, who knows more. But it doesn't mean they're right. Sometimes people know more, they're not right. And this, I'm trying to think of why I'm putting this in here now. I can't quite remember. It just fits. Gonna have to trust me. Made it on 9/9/99 and 9/10/99. Yeah, I guess that's it. Yeah. There's a picture I drew related to a crush I had at a time.
Oh, she's seen me come, of course.
You kept me waiting long enough.
One of my Deborahs.
My apologies, man.
And this was, yeah, before I knew about triangles from math. And as far as like the whole like pineal part of the head, though notice I have a tetrahedron in it, I didn't know shit about any of that stuff then, really. But intuitively, you know, this is what I came up with. Butterfly in the stomach. And reminds me of a couple dreams I've had. Oh man, why the fuck am I doing this?
The intruder.
Hope.
The new one army.
And it means something.
They're all her puppets.
I really like this drawing. It's sappy.
Victoria.
But minus the sap, I really like it.
Alice would have seen. She wanted to make it.
But maybe that's what makes it likable. I don't know.
And she's letting someone else decide.
But I don't know. Anyway, yeah, Deborah B. Imagination, a real thing. What does complex mean?
You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not.